There's a new podcast series produced by the New York Times, which has gone back and investigated an Islamophobic set of actions taken by the government and Birmingham City Council, which was seemingly triggered by what became known as the Trojan Horse Letter affair. It's a very thorough description of the journalists' investigation and the events they uncovered. And there's one moment which really stays with me. And that's when one of the victims of the actions describes himself as being a little bug on the ground. He says of the authorities, and I quote, it just felt like, when you step on a beetle, on the streets, or you step on an insect and there's no consequences, no feeling of, oh, what have I done? It's just, yeah, that's just part of what it is. We've trampled on these people. Okay, they'll get through it. It conjured up this image of the large shoes of those in power, so massively changing someone's life with complete disrespect and disregard. And I wonder how many people who are now part of the public inquiry into the post office feel the same way. Back in 1999, they introduced a piece of accounting software made by Fujitsu, and quite soon afterwards, sub-postmasters started reporting unexplainable losses of money. And to cut a long story short, the post office made these people pay the money themselves to make up for the shortfalls, because they kept saying that the software was, and they used the word, robust. Some sub-postmasters paid huge sums of money, some going bankrupt, whilst none of them could understand how the accounts were showing these massive losses. Many of them were aggressively taken to court by the post office, some of them were imprisoned, and at least one postmistress committed suicide. Many of them were shunned as pariahs in the communities in which they lived. One of the most heinous aspects of this saga is that when being questioned, they were told by their inquisitors that this problem was only happening to them, so it must be their fault, whilst the authorities knew perfectly well this was a problem that was occurring all over the country. There were people in the post office who preferred to protect their organization rather than admit they were wrong. And the longer it went on, the more they dug themselves into a hole, despite knowing they were supporting injustice, which the BBC has described as the greatest miscarriage of justice in British legal history. And I see this pattern of the disdain with which innocent people can be mistreated, with scant consideration for their lives, their feelings, their experience, their circumstances. It goes against one of the principal skills that I think is absolutely necessary for leading organizations now and in the future. And that's taking on the mantle of leadership with a sense of empathy and compassion for the people for whom we are responsible. There are some fantastic leaders out there that we come across who are leading with a kind of enlightenment, understanding how deeply important it is to take responsibility for the impact of corporate decisions. And it's not everybody. It's my belief that the organizations that are going to be successful in the next 10 years are ones that are led by an agility of decision-making, combined with a deep empathy for the personal journeys that their employees are going through, particularly as the effects of the pandemic, I think, are very young yet. I believe there are going to be many more effects of the pandemic, ones which we can't foresee. So what we're doing at Serenity in Leadership is encouraging leaders to not be absolutely sure, to review their decisions and their consequences, and to stay closely in touch with the people for whom they are responsible, and to listen more deeply than perhaps they ever have done before. That's my thought for the week. My name's Thom. I'm the CEO of Serenity in Leadership, and I'll see you next week.